Welcome, everyone. My name is Charn Pennewaert. I have Dr. Pauline Tai here with us today. We're really excited to have everyone join us. We're going to give people a few minutes to be in the room. We're letting people in right now. So today, we're just going to move along and make sure that everybody has a great time and learn a lot about this important topic that's affecting everyone. And so, Dr. Tai, welcome. How are you?
I'm excited to be part of this, and let's get started.
That's perfect. Well, a little bit about Dr. Tai for those of you who do not know him. He's the chairman and president of BARM, which is a Brazil American Academy of Aging and Regenerative Medicine. You're also past president of the Institute of Bones and Joints and Muscle Pain, as well as president of the American Academy of Clinical Nutrition, board certified in anti-aging, a physician and diplomat. You've been on numerous TV shows, and this is actually one of the pictures from there. Certified clinical nutritionist, diplomat, American Clinical Board of Nutrition, and you're the professor of aging and regenerative medicine from Sao Paulo, Brazil. So you speak Portuguese, which is quite unusual, and welcome everyone. So former faculty member and lecturer for the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, and past chairman of the Department of Medical Research at the University of Health Science, Antigua, and the School of Medicine and School of Nursing. Wow, there's so much more about you. I mean, you've had 50 plus years experience writing all the different health books, 14 patents, Miracle of Cordyceps, which I have a copy, and you've traveled the world educating doctors. I know a lot of the doctors refer you as the doctor of doctors. And of course, we have you here today. Welcome, everyone, and welcome, Dr. Tai. We are excited to get started. We're going to move along and kind of talk about the symptoms. Can you elaborate on what is the most common symptom of hypothyroid?
It's a really difficult question to answer because it is so broad. I want to make sure that you understand that any of the problems that you may have from head to toe, that's right. And I'll give you some background why I'm talking about so many different symptoms. And I'm going to give you some very specific ones. But let me explain to you what thyroid does, and then you can understand why I'm saying this. Thyroid is a gland here on our throat, and it is a master gland. It is a master hormone. It is the one that makes everything work. So there are three main parts of it that you might want to understand. Number one, it is the battery of your body. It is, you can have the most beautiful body, you can have the most perfect body, but if you have no battery, it will absolutely not work. So you can imagine. So if your battery is low, think of your house having a brownout in your electricity. When you have a brownout, your refrigerator will not work. Your air conditioner will not work. Your heaters will not work. Your TV will not work. So every time that we lose the mitochondria, which is the battery that we are talking about from the thyroid, it is the main portion. So it provides you beyond that all of the electricity. So you can think about it. Our brain is electrical. We think it's all electricity. We're going to get into that much more in detail today. But also your muscles, they are electrical. So you have all that energy, and that requires electricity. All of it coming from where? Coming from the mitochondria, which is the battery of your body. And what provides your body with mitochondria? It is the hypothyroid. It is the thyroid that does it. And when you say hypothyroid, means that your batteries are low. And if your batteries are low, you're going to have all of these symptoms. And what are they? Most I'm going to talk about today is going to be about the stress, the fatigue, the chronic fatigue. My goodness, my patients tell me, Dr. Tai, I am so tired. And I don't know what to do. My doctor just tells me that I'm getting old, but it's not it. I am actually very tired. And then people complain about the stress, about the moodiness, about the depression. And all they do is that they give me more antidepressant, but it's not solving my problem. So I want to talk about the brain fog. These are the symptoms. And most are going to show you about the weight gain. Why? Because when you lose your energy level, you start to actually build from all of that sugar that you have been eating, all of that calorie. What does it do? It goes into fat because you cannot have that energy. So I want to teach you about all of this because inflammation creates the fibromyalgia. And I tell you, you go to a doctor and you complain about fibromyalgia, and they will look at you cross-eyed because they will say, "Oh, I don't understand this. I mean, why would you have all these problems?" So I want to share with you today that 97% of our patients with hypothyroid have very high inflammation and have fibromyalgia. They have pain, they have joint pain, they even have their hair loss. I am telling you, this is women losing their hair. I mean, they come to me and they cry. They have their hands like this full of hair. They say, "This is all the hair that fell off just from one wash. If it is continue, I'm going to be bald." And not only their hair, but also their eyebrow, even their eyebrows fall off. So I have seen all of it because we specialize in these areas. We teach doctors about this, and it is very important. If you understand that thyroid is your energy and energy with your electricity, so every part of your body, including autoimmune diseases, they are all part of not having the right energy and the right amount of battery in your body. Okay?
So, Dr. Tai, I have a question. How do normal other doctors diagnose hypothyroid?
Oh, now that is practically a full day conversation because I actually teach thousands of doctors. I think the last count is about 30,000. I teach doctors and they are my patients, and we talk about this. And I tell you, it's very, very difficult because when you interview them and I ask them, I say, "How do you actually do this? How do you actually uh, treat this? How do you diagnose this?" And most of them, I don't know that you have had this experience, most of them run a laboratory test and they call that TSH. Have you ever heard of it? Have your doctor ever done that to you? Okay. And he said, "Oh, your TSH is okay." But he doesn't understand. I am telling you, there is some misinformation out there. TSH, for your information, is not even made from the thyroid. It is made from your pituitary in the brain. So it has nothing to do with the production of thyroid. So I will tell you, if you want to be really complete about this, if your doctor wants to be really, really good at this, he needs to take all your clinical symptoms that we talked about, all the problems that you are suffering from, and you want to correlate it with a very, very complete laboratory test. And what is that? That is beyond TSH. You want to actually test for the levels of your T3, the free using T3, not the bound ones, but the free T3. And what is that? Why am I talking like if I'm, doctor talk? It is not. You need to understand that your hormone from your thyroid that is actually working in your body is only T3. That is the working thyroid. So remember that. But then we want to know about T4. And you will say, Dr. Tai, why do we need to know the T4? Well, because when T3 is used up, it needs to have a backup. It needs to fill all of the T3s when they are getting used up. So T4 is your backup, it's your reserve, and all you have to have is an enzyme that makes T4 into T3. That way you have thyroid hormone all day working for you, and you have at the high level. But watch out, because most doctors are not testing you for something very dangerous. It is called the antibody. That's right. It is an antibody of your thyroid called TPO. Now, there are several different antibodies, but I talk about TPO because that's the main one. And most of you are going to say, Dr. Tai, what is a TPO? What is an antibody? Okay, an antibody is when you have a condition that is your autoimmune disease. That means that your own body creates an anti your body and attacks your thyroid cells and the gland, and it lowers it and stops the production of your thyroid. It tries to kill your thyroid cells. So you will have very low thyroid. In that way, you must always know if you have the antibody. And we're going to talk more about that in a minute, okay?
So, Dr. Tai, you get questions all the time as you do consultations with your patients and doctors. So my doctor tells me my thyroid lab report is within normal, but I still have all the symptoms. Can you elaborate on that?
Oh, now that is a discussion that we always have with our patients, and they always come to me very, very frustrated. And I discuss this with the doctors all the time because I'm teaching them to be very careful. You see, the problem is this. You may have adequate, kind of in the normal range of your thyroid, and your doctor looking at your lab report, and he doesn't even ask you about your problems. He just looking at the lab report, and he says, well, it's not very high, but it's still within normal, and I think we have to wait. We have to just let it go for a while, and then we'll check it again in a year, okay? But that is a real problem because you see, you may have a certain amount of thyroid running in your blood, but they are not getting used. Listen to this very carefully because your body has a receptor. And that receptor, the cells, have a very important activity. It grabs the thyroid hormone and use it inside each of the cells to make the battery, to make the energy. So think about this. You have heard of people say that they have diabetes and they have diabetes type 2. Now, diabetes type 2 is the most common diabetes that we have. Matter of fact, 95%, 98% of all the patients is diabetes type 2, not diabetes type 1. Diabetes type 2, if you go and check the hormone insulin in the diabetic, it's normal. It is amazing. The doctors took them years to understand why is it that insulin is normal in your body, but your sugar is completely off? Why is it that your hormone insulin is not working to move your sugar? Well, the reason for that is because it's called receptor insensitivity or receptor resistance. So what I am teaching you here, so that you become actually even smarter than most doctors, is that when you have an adequate amount of thyroid hormone in your blood, just like the insulin hormone that is adequate on a diabetic, but you have a thyroid receptor resistance, that is called thyroid type 2. And this is very important that you will know that your doctor is not doing a good job when he is only looking at the lab. He does not look at you. He does not interact with you. He does not check out your symptoms. So he doesn't know that you have thyroid type 2. Does that make sense now? Thank you.
Yeah, totally. Well, I have this other question. I can't seem to pronounce this, but people are on medication, and why are they still suffering from symptoms?
Well, there are many types of medication, but the two most common ones that our doctors use all over the world, number one is called Synthroid, and number two is called levothyroxine. Okay, some of the patients, some of you that are in the audience already know this. You already understand this. So you know that the Synthroid that they gave you is really what? It is type 4. It is thyroid number 4. And I talked to you earlier, if you want to remember, is that thyroid number 4, it's not a working thyroid. And I never understood why doctors use Synthroid, the thyroid number 4, when it's not a working thyroid. So that's why if your body cannot utilize the T4 to make T3, which is the working one, then your body cannot function well. And so you may be on Synthroid, but you still have severe problems and you have all the symptoms of hypothyroid. Now, some of the doctors actually became smart and they said, my goodness, if T4 Synthroid doesn't work well, then I'm going to put you on levothyroxine. This is the new one. And the levothyroxine is what? T3. So at least they made a good choice that it is a working thyroid for a change. But the problem with T3 that I have seen with many patients is that they tell me, you know what? I take it in the morning because, all the thyroid medications are taken in the morning. And they say, but by 12 o'clock, by 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, I'm running out of energy. I'm running out of steam. They are saying I'm actually tired. And so I have gained weight. I have done. So the problem is that T3 runs out, gets used up in the morning, but it has no backup. Can you imagine? Because you don't have any T4 because you're hypothyroid. So he gave you T3, but there is no backup. So there is no reserve for you to use when your levothyroxine runs out. So what I am trying to share with you is that both medications are not complete. They have no backup. They have no way of which to make you whole again. And what I want to do is teach you why you still have the same symptoms and how we are going to today actually clean all of this up, and you are really going to understand your body, your condition, and what you need to do. Does that make sense?
Yes, definitely. Thank you for actually breaking it down for us. I mean, awareness is the first key. And we have a big question here. What is Hashimoto thyroid?
Okay, so Dr. Hashimoto was a Japanese endocrinologist, and he noticed that several of his patients, and they are more women, very much more women's side than men's side. And what he has noticed is that they have very low thyroid. And they don't understand why. So he started to look into the root cause of this problem. And the root cause was that these patients had autoimmune disease. And autoimmune disease created an antibody. And the word antibody means just that, anti your body. That's right. And so this antibody actually attacks your thyroid, and it tries to kill the thyroid cells, and it lowers your thyroid function to the point where you are hypothyroid. So what we have done is that when we start, and most people think that Hashimoto, this autoimmune disease, is for life. They come to me and they are crying because they said, my doctor said this is for life and I will never have again normal thyroid and my antibody will not go away. And I tell them, no, we can, in most cases, little by little, we can remove the autoimmune disease. We can heal your body. We make a real effort to make you whole again. And we treat the thyroid in such a beautiful way that it heals itself at the same time healing your body. Okay?
So Dr. Tai, we've had a lot of comments actually come in while you're speaking. People are often very tired and exhausted. How can you help that increase energy?
Well, from the three most biggest complaint about hypothyroid symptom, the chronic fatigue. Can you imagine? The chronic fatigue affects 93% of all the hypothyroid patients. 93. So if you have chronic fatigue, let me assure you to go and check your thyroid, because most likely you are going to have a big problem. So most doctors only treat the chronic fatigue when they see the hypothyroid, is that they don't understand the biochemistry and the physiology of how the body functions. So they just give you the typical drug prescription that doesn't work for the thyroid, but he feels that it will help you with your chronic fatigue, with your tiredness. But the truth is that actually it's a slightly more complicated than that. And let me teach you. I'm going to give you all the solutions here today, because what happens with the thyroid being low is that it drags down your adrenal. Now, you heard many people that have adrenal fatigue. And adrenal fatigue goes hand in hand with hypothyroid. So the reason that you have this low energy, it's not because only of the thyroid, but be very careful. Be very intelligent about this. Always look for the possibility that you have adrenal fatigue with it. And I will tell you that more than 80% of my patients and doctors have this problem, adrenal fatigue, together with the hypothyroid. Okay?
Thank you, Dr. Tai, for that. How can you help brain fog and memory?
My goodness, I tell you, let me remind you, brain cells die every single day. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, this is very important, because if you lose your mind, you are not going to like it. Trust me. Because when you are in the old age home, in some kind of a bedridden, clicking away on television, and you don't even know what you're watching, and your granddaughter is right there saying, I love you, Papa, and I love you, Mama, and you cannot know who they are. You don't recognize them. I am telling you, that is very sad. Because when you lose the brain cell, 30,000 brain cells die every single day. 30,000. And I'm going to help you to stop that. I have the research. I write 14 textbooks. I mean, excuse me, I write textbooks for doctors. I teach 30,000 doctors, so I should know how to help you to stop losing brain cells. But most importantly, I will teach you this. There are two major parts. Number one is the membrane of the cell itself. So there is a biohormone called pregnenolone. That is what gave your brain the size that it is, because you were born with a tiny little brain, but it grew when you became older. And that was the hormone working called pregnenolone. Okay? That's the first step. Second is that it needs a membrane. A membrane is what everything works through the membrane, just like a tree. Everything works through the bark of the tree. If you want to kill a tree, you remove the bark and the tree dies. If you remove the membrane of the nerve, like a diabetic, and they will lose all the sensations on their feet. I'm a surgeon. I'm a double board certified surgeon. And I used to help to stop these problems so that we don't have to amputate these diabetic feet and ankle and legs. So what I am teaching you here today is that you want to use phosphocholine for your membrane. This is absolutely phenomenal for your brain. But the most important is that the brain actually communicates one cell with the other. And that communication is electrical, and that communication requires amino acids. And we have discovered through the research that there is 7 to 10 amino acids that are actually missing. And so what we do is that we give you a simple nasal spray. Oh, you are just absolutely amazed at how little by little all your brain activity, and when you put it together and take care of your hypothyroid, take care of the cellular membrane, you are back. And I am telling you, you're going to be sharp, because I had this problem. I was the one with the dementia. My last textbook took me 5 years because I couldn't think. But then I took care of all of this through research, and I finished that book in 1 year. So that is how it is done.
So Dr. Tai, there's so many symptoms, one of which is my hair is falling out a lot.
Sure.
How can you stop that?
Well, the hair falling out is a problem for a lot of people. As you're getting older, as you're having problem with your hypothyroid, you are going to lose hair. And this is very scary, because I see a lot of older women practically bald. And you can tell that they are getting really, really in deep difficulty. So I will tell you that there are many ways of which to help you to take care of that. The number one that you are going to find out is that it's stress. Stress creates deficiencies in our vitamins. It creates deficiencies in our biohormone. And stress causes most of those kind of problems. So the first thing I help these patients, first, we do a little saliva testing so we know exactly which of the biohormones are actually low. And we take these low biohormones and we elevate it back to its normal level. And when you do that, you actually see removing the stress, removing the deficiency and the imbalance, you actually bring all the hair to grow, because hair is grown from energy. And as I told you from the very beginning, when you have hypothyroid, you lose energy. And the hair energy, so that you can look it up, it's called telogenic energy. And that's why it doesn't have enough energy to grow, so it actually falls and actually dies. So when we put back the energy, your hair grows back. So this is very important, that you take care of it soon, you take care of it rapidly, so that you don't go bald.
Wow. Okay. Thank you for that. Very interesting. Lastly, I would say I'm so stressed. Everyone's stressed, but even more so, and anxious at night, creating insomnia. What do you have to help with that?
Well, of all the three that I told you about the thyroid, the three conditions that are most common, the number one is stress. 98% of my patients, 98% has problem with stress. They have anxiety, they have stress, and people actually got to a point where they will actually try to live with that high stress. And it's not necessary. It's only because when patients actually go to their doctor and they say, I'm so stressed, I'm so anxious, and I'm having insomnia. I cannot fall asleep. I cannot stay asleep. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute with you, because I tell you what, they give you such strong chemicals that actually knocks you out. You are zorked out. You are not actually sleeping. You are actually knocked out. And when you wake up, you don't even know where the hell you are. Okay, so I want to let you know this is not the answer, because the problem with the stress and anxiety is that we have learned from Tufts University. I do all of this research because I teach doctors, and you know how doctors are. When you have 100 or 1,000 doctors in a room, they drive you crazy with their questions, and they just, you know, they know it all. They know everything. So you can never teach a doctor. You know, I'll give you an example. Have you tried to corral 100 cats? Figure that out. They go all over the place. Nobody does anything correctly. So what I want you to know is that when you have all of this stress, there is 7 amino acids that Tufts University discovered that come from your spleen. They are deficient. So what I do is I help you to balance this. This is amazing. And I tell you why the stress creates insomnia. Because you're talking. Oh my gosh, you don't believe me? Think about it carefully. You are just talking all night with yourself, and that's why you cannot fall asleep. You are thinking about all the problems. You're worried about all the things that are not important. And you know what? Most of my patients actually tell me, Dr. Tai, I actually fall asleep, but my biggest problem is that I wake up at 2 and 3 in the morning. Oh, I wake up and then I think, well, I'm already up, so I might as well go to the bathroom. So they go to the bathroom, they pee, and they come back, and now their heart rate is up, and now they're wide awake, and so now they're going to try to go back to sleep. Excuse me. That little chatter, okay, yeah, I know. You're going to say, what chatter? Okay, that chatter that you are hearing right now. That is the chatter. And you tell you something, it doesn't let you go to sleep. It keeps you awake for hours. And you look at the clock and you go, it's already 3 in the morning. I have to get up at 6 or 7 in the morning. I only got 3 more hours to sleep. Now you're worried. And now you're chattering even more. I tell you, we got to stop that, and I will help you. No drugs to knock you out, but I'm going to help you to lower your stress, lower your anxiety, stop that insomnia. And the mild ones, we can do it with herbs and vitamins. But the more severe ones, we have beautiful answer solutions that are so elegant. They are so beautiful. They will help you to just fall asleep. You know, it's kind of like finally God puts his hands on your shoulder and it says, it's okay. You can think about it tomorrow morning. All you have to do is relax. Take a deep breath. Relax. You know, when you relax in the deep sense of in the middle of the night, it's about 50% sleeping. I don't know that you know this. So when you are saying, oh, I'm taking half an hour to fall asleep, that's no big deal, because when you are relaxed, taking deep breath and really relax and try to think about your body instead of thinking about all this talking, you actually, it's equivalent to 50% of all the sleeping. So I will help you to go to sleep like a baby.
Well, thank you for that, Dr. Tai. You have so much energy. I mean, I don't know if anybody knows. How old are you, Dr. Tai?
I want you to know
How
I'm
young are you? I'm sorry.
7 years old. I am
77.
77. I'm nearly 80
Pretty
years
amazing.
old. I am over the hill. I mean, my family calls me ancient.
Well, we're very impressed. I've actually seen you live on stage, standing ovation. So everyone, we're pretty lucky to have him here today. One last question. Since my menopause, I've gained 20 to 30 pounds. How can you help me?
This is probably the most critical one. It's the closest one to my heart because, ladies and gentlemen, I was hypothyroid and I was a 200-pound surgeon. 200 pounds doing surgery, standing on his feet all day, all day. I had 30 nurses. Half of the hospital was dedicated to Dr. Ty. So I tell you, I triple chin. I had a big giant nose and a big face and a big belly that's over 40 inches. 40 inches. I lost 65 pounds. I am down to 135 pounds today. And I tell you, my waist, if you can see it, is only 28 inches. I have a 28-inch waist. That's my high school weight. So I want you to know that I have actually solved this problem. My mother suffered from obesity. My mother was double diabetic. She was finally 2 open heart surgeries, 2, not 1, 2. She finally died diabetic. She was in terrible with dementia. And that woke me up. I actually quit surgery and went back to school to become double board certified in aging and in nutrition so that I can help you. I can help myself. This was a major, major change. I left behind millions of dollars in surgery so that I can become and pursue my love, which is to help people with functional problems. I lost 65 pounds and I can help you to lose it because you know why? I have discovered, I have patented the actual supplements. I actually published, not in a Reader's Digest and TV guide. No, I published in the Journal of Obesity. Okay, so I not only published one, I published twice, and I do double-blind study with crossovers so that you understand that this is all scientific. I'm a professor that actually can help you, and we use it by cleaning your diabetes. We clean the fat. And I don't know that you know this, but there's a white fat and there's a brown fat. That's right. The white fat is the bad fat that creates the inflammation. And the brown fat, oh my goodness, this is the fat that comes from the baby. When you're born with a brown fat. And that burns calories, burns, and it makes you warm because people with hypothyroid, people that are fat, has all of the problems with cancer, heart disease. They end up diabetic, they die, and I don't want that. I want to help you. So these are the steps. We actually help you to clean it. We actually help you to melt the fat. We pee it out. We balance your leptin, which is the bad hormone that makes you eat and eat and eat. And we teach you what to eat. You can eat as much as you want, but I teach you what you eat so you're never hungry. I don't want you to ever be hungry. And I want to clean your liver. I want to clean your insulin so you're not diabetic because all of you that are obese like me, I was already pre-diabetic and I'm trying to save your life and prolong, give you a long life, but a beautiful one with lots of energy and gorgeous. Yes, I want to die gorgeous. That's the best one. I mean, you really win if you die beautiful. Okay?
Well, thank you, Dr. Ty. Again, you have a lot of energy, and we do appreciate you sharing all this expertise with us. Well, Dr. Ty, we're closing in at 4 p.m. We've got a lot more questions, actually. Unfortunately, we can't answer all of them. We do have everyone's contact information. What's the best way to reach you is to pretty much visit drpaulingthai.com. I've already put that link in this chat. Schedule a free consultation. Complete a personal health assessment online. It's actually a form. You can complete it and then send it back to him. And then sign up for any recommended tests that he, advises you. It is important to get tested. A saliva test is very easy to do. I believe when you order it, you get a kit and you just spit into the tubes and keep it refrigerated and send it back to your labs. Correct, Dr. Tai? And then you get a personalized, yet a very small, a personalized protocol to follow. But I do highly recommend everyone who is interested in, overcoming this very important stage in your life. And hopefully no one really has to go through it any longer. And Dr. Tai has really dedicated his life to helping everyone. This is important to you and it's important to him. So we do have a book that is given away free to everyone. We will go ahead and send an email following today. You will get a link to download this 8 Powerful Secrets of Anti-Aging book. And do visit and we'll follow up with the link. You can click on that too via the email. So I appreciate everyone's time. This is recorded and we will send you the recording so you can watch it again and share it with your friends and family. So thank you, Dr. Tai. I do appreciate your time and everyone else's time for stopping in, spending an hour with us. And I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of the evening. We do have more upcoming webinars scheduled with Dr. Tai on various issues. If you have any interest and you want to send it to Dr. Tai, we will be considering topics that, are important to everyone. So we do have supplements that Dr. Tai can recommend to you. So the supplements will be, given to you, personalized, obviously, to what is affecting you, what symptoms you have. So thank you again, everyone, and have a wonderful evening, Dr. Tai. Thank you. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.